3406.
Hi and welcome back to the channel. Today I have a radio from BAJETON. I know that you have seen it in other channels, it's all over the web and ham radio enthusiasts. It's exactly the same as one from another company, which I will not name. And it's the BJ-9000. I am really excited to have this here because according to its specs, it's a radio that can do great many things and the price is not that exquisite. So let's have a look and see how it goes. As I said, it's the BAJETON BJ-9000 and let's see what's in the box. Okay, obviously the user manual. Let's start with the easy stuff. A charging base, okay, which takes USB-C over here. A battery clip, of course, charging cable, a charger, that's the European version, and a lanyard, okay. We have the classic rubber ducky antenna. Very nice, and there's a small rubber ring also here, which you can put here, I guess. There you go. Okay. And here we have the battery. Quite big, obviously, but it's a big radio and it needs it, believe me. That's 2800 milliamps at 7.4 volts. USB-C charger here on the back. And this is the radio body. Nice. Okay, let's see what it says back here. Model BJ-9000, frequency multiband, yes of course. Power output 10 watts. Perfect. I don't know, just to go over the specs for those who haven't seen it. Okay, we put the antenna on also. Very nice. So this is a multiband radio. It has also GPS and APRS, which for me is great to have these days. So we have CB, SSB and HF. I know that we have seen a lot of radios the past few years that say that they can do all those things, but I think this one delivers at this point. So we have CB at 27 MHz RX and TX. We can TX on CB. Of course we have FM reception, the commercial FM, 64 to 108 MHz. We have SW 2.3 to 30 MHz. All those bands are RX only. MW 520 to 1710 kHz and low frequencies at 153 to 279 kHz again. All those are RX only, except the CB of course, which is RX and TX. Also we have 18 to 64 MHz transmit, 136 to 520 MHz transmit, that's VHF and UHF together, 18 to 620 MHz RX receive, and 840 to 999 MHz receive too. Additionally, Bluetooth programming with an application in our smartphone, crossband repeater, obviously this radio has multiple transceivers inside in order to do that, and 10 watt output power. So in paper it looks amazing. And I have to say, from what I have seen also from friends, it seems like a radio that can do all of those things. The body is kind of big. I got the transparent version, and that's nice because you can see some of the things that are inside without opening the case. Like over here you can see the chassis of the radio. Okay, we have up here, I don't know if you recognize it, but I do from the electronics that I handle. This is the GPS antenna, this square here, the ceramic antenna of the GPS. Of course we have a LED over here, but with a transparent case it's more bright than usual. We have a rotary encoder over here, power button, mid powered off, and here on the side we have 4 buttons. That's the main PTT, that's PTT2, and also we have two other buttons down here, which one of them can be assigned also to a third PTT, because I don't know if you have seen it, but this amazing little thing has 3 VFOs on the screen working at the same time, which of course means that it eats a little more of your battery, but that's another issue to attend to. Also on this side we have the connector. It had a cap over here with a screw. I removed it in order to be visible. It's not the usual Kenwood plug connector, I have to say this, and I didn't have this cable, so I had it delivered, but we have seen this to other radios too, although it's not my preference to say the truth. It's not an easy connector to go by. Maybe it has less problems than the Kenwood plug, I don't know, I'm not sure, although those contacts here look like something to become troublesome in time. Speaking from my computer experience, of course, not with this radio. So let me show you the cable that I had to buy in order to connect it to the PC and program this radio. It's a classic USB CH340 chip on the one side, and this is the connector on the other side. This is the one. It has 3 active pins. You can see that the other positions are empty for the other pins, and they're not needed for this particular radio or the radios of this series that have that type of connector. And it's kind of strange to put it on, to say the truth. I'm just going to show it to you now. It has a little plastic here protruding out. Don't remove it. You have to push this thing in this opening here in order for the connector to sit correctly. And after it does, you just screw the screw like this. Okay, and now it's steady on. Although here we have a small problem with the design of the head of the radio, but okay. I hope it won't cause any problem in the long run. At the moment it's connected and I have tested it, so it has a connection to the laptop, to the PC. So for start, this is the only thing that I thought that was kind of strange for me. I'm not particularly fond of those connectors, but okay. I believe that I understand why they did something like that, because maybe they need the extra space inside. It's a big radio, but it has so many functions that I'm sure that they had to find extra space in order to put all those things in. Okay, so let's have a look at the menu system and what the software of this radio has inside, the firmware to say the correct word. Let's open it up. Okay, we have the power on picture. We can change that from what I have seen. Later in the video I will show this if possible, and as you can see here we have 3 VFOs, A, B and C. I have set some memories inside, obviously there are repeaters in my area, and in the third one I have set the APRS frequency. Let's have a look at the keypad. A bright illuminated keypad here. Also the speakerphone is behind the keypad over here, so this is why we can't see any grill for the speaker. It's back here. It's not exactly visible, but I know that this is a speaker. Here maybe you can see the circle of the speaker. So it's in the back of the keypad, which is a great design. And obviously the grill for the speaker are those lines between the keys. Quite clever design, to say the truth, to save space. And as we said, this radio needs space. It's big enough already. So here we have a direction key. We have also a back and OK menu over here, and under them we have 2 more keys besides the numeric keypad. The one is the selector of the VFOs. It says A, B and C, and as you can see, if I press it, we switch between the 3 VFOs. And also here we have the VM button switching between memory and VFO for each of those. So by user interface design, this radio looks very nice, I have to say that. And this is something that I also show inside the menu. Maybe some small changes, but for the most part it has an excellent menu system, and we're going to see that now. This is another radio that has gone to the icon era of menu systems, so you can see that if I press menu, we get a set of icons to which we can navigate with the direction button and go up, down, left and right. It has 4 rows of settings, so they are quite a lot. The first one is Vox. It has the Vox settings, obviously Vox switch level and delay. I'm not going to analyze them, no need for that. We have zones here. Let me explain for a moment what these zones are. This radio has 2 systems of displaying your channels. And this is also another thing that I like in this radio, because I would like to see 2 more radios also from other brands. Not all users like the zone system that some brands have in their radios, that you have set zones of a number of channels, let's say 64 or 128, and they stop there. And you can't go to all channels, you have to change zone to go to another set of channels. So this software here, this firmware, what Bajeton has inside, has 2 options for you. Either you use the zone mode, which divides your channels to zones of 64 channels each, or either you work the radio with full channels, so all your channels are displayed in one go, no zone system to select. You have all your channels as you have passed them one by one, and you can go to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, and so on. So this is amazing for me. This is great actually as for user interface goes, because you have the choice. And life is about choices, obviously, and in radios too. Now, I have selected the full channel because that's how I like most of my radios, to say the truth. So here we are. This was the zone system. Just to show you what happens if I select the zone mode, you can see that the device reboots because it has to change how the system works. And now if we go to zones, we have another option, zone select, where we can select in which zone we want to be. And we have 8 zones here of 64 channels each, if I remember correctly. So that's it. Now I'll go back to full channel. The device will restart again. Perfect. And let's continue to the menu system. So this was the zone option. Next one says VFO and channel. Let's see what we have here. Okay, we have options of how VFO and channels are displayed. This is the MDF A, B and C. For each one of them you can select if you want to see frequency, name or channel number, and those are independent, so I can change what is shown in the A VFO. Let's say I want to see frequency. Okay, but I can go to VFO B and select channel number. Here we are. Let's change them back to name. So see what I was meaning before about choices? That's it. You have a lot of choices. And you can see that in the extra effort that the companies put in on those things. Because basically all the radios do by 80% the same things. But you have to get the one that has the most choices for you. That's at least my philosophy. Next menu option are channel edit name. We can edit the channel name from here. RX modulation, FM or AM for each channel. Okay, scan add if you want this channel to be in the scan list. The number of the memory that this channel is assigned, you can change that from here. You can delete the channel from here. And that's the submenu of VFO and channel settings. Let's see what's next here. I'll go a little bit backwards. Okay, we have CTCSS and DCS menu subsystem over here for our channel, obviously, and we can go further down. We see here an FHSS code, although I don't think this is the real FHSS. I think it's something to do about hopping that a lot of Chinese radios have. It's at off with no other option, to say the truth. Maybe I'll check this out later to see if I can find out anything. We have the encryption menu, obviously it's the scrambler. as I have said to other videos, illegal in most countries. Scan subcode. Right, here we have the scanner for the CTCSS or DCS tones. You must have a receiving transmission so it can accurately find the code that it's transmitting, or again with the DCS. Perfect. And here we have the scan memory. Okay. Right, so this was the fourth option in the menu system. Let's see the next one. Radio set. Okay, here we have some of the important radio settings. I'll leave number one for the end. Let's go to, we have squelch. Okay. Transmit power, we have three powers, low, medium and high. We're going to measure them later. Bandwidth, obviously, wide and narrow. Scramble, again, we had encryption before, now we have scramble, so this thing has two kinds of encryptions, scrambling communications things, although, as I said, illegal, but still we have two. This is the ordinary scramble, I guess, with frequency. The other one, I think it's something like voice encryption, voice scrambling. I don't know how it works exactly. I'm going to check it out. For educational purposes, obviously, we have standby set, which is set to on at the moment. This thing, although it's obscurely named standby set, I mean, okay, it means nothing. It's actually the dual band reception of the radio. So if I set it to off, I will have a single band reception. If I set it to on, we'll have the dual, actually the 3 VFO band reception. It's dual, but okay, we have 3 VFOs. So I have set it to on, so we can work with the dual VFOs. Next menu is battery save, off, normal, super and deep. Believe me, if not necessary, set it to deep, because this radio with this screen and 3 VFOs, it needs a lot of power save. Busy lockout for the channels. Okay. Timeout timer, tail elimination, I guess. This is the air tone for the repeaters. Scan mode, great, I have to time. Roger beep, yes, we have it off, okay. Repeater squelch tail elimination. The time of the repeater tail tone. Crossband repeater, that's what I told you before. Since we have two transceivers inside, we can set it to on or off. So now if we transmit to VFO A, it will go out to VFO B. Repeat speaker. This is about the crossband repeater, which I will now set to off, so we don't transmit anything by mistake. This has to do with the crossband repeater. If you activate this menu, you will listen from the speaker here what is repeated. Otherwise, it won't. SOS mode, okay. On-site, send sound and send code, obvious selections for all those alarm systems. Radio interrupt, yes, we know what this is about, the commercial radio interruption if you have a reception. Mic gain, okay, we have low, middle and high. I would suggest to test this and set it to middle or high with a friend perhaps who can listen how you sound. PTT mode, we have single PTT on or off. Let me explain what this is for a moment. Since we said that this radio has 3 VFOs and we have at least 2 PTT buttons, this one and this one, these are both PTT buttons, you can't change their function. You can assign also a third PTT button here, but you have at least 2. So with this option here, with this menu, the single PTT mode, either one of those activates the VFO that is selected here, either A, B or C. If you have it to off here, then the upper PTT works for PTT A and the second one works for PTT B. And this is set. You don't have a PTT for the third VFO, for the C. But if you select the on, then as I said before, both of them work in the set VFO only. So you can press either this one or this one and VFO-A will go off. This was the radio set menu, a lot of options, and we haven't seen yet the workband. I hope you understand that this is going to be a long video because this radio has so many options. I'm trying to cover as many as I can to show you. Now, the menu that we didn't see, the first one, workband, let's see how this works. Actually, this is the selection between those two sets of work frequencies. Two sets here. We have 18 to 64 MHz and 64 to 999 MHz. So you have to select which one you want to work with. I remind you, on the first set there is also the CB band in which we can TX2, we can also transmit. And let's have a look. If I select it, the radio will reboot. And I have to say that I think I hear a click inside. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, I hear a little click. I don't know if there's a relay inside for that. I'd love to see that. Anyway, as you can see, it rebooted and it found my CB frequencies which I had at the end of my saved channels. I had them at 601 and 602 and on, and it automatically found them in the memories and presents them here. I mean, okay, that's very nice of you, dear radio. I guess the next generation of radios 1 year from now will have AI inside and will just talk to it and go something like, open up the CB11 frequency for me and call John, for instance. I don't know. I'm sure this will happen. And I know that hardcore radio operators do a roll eye at the moment, but I don't know what to say, guys. We don't define the era that we live in. Unfortunately or fortunately, take it as you like. So we have changed the workband here from this menu. And let's continue. Let's stay here at this band and let's continue with the menu system. That's what we want to see. Next option, APRS set. As I said, this radio has an APRS system, a complete one. From what I have seen, there's nothing missing, at least to my eyes. We have, okay, APRS on or off. Obviously, we have GPS on or off. Another sub-menu system for the GPS. At the moment I have the GPS active, but I am inside, so we don't have a position. How it will be displayed. Time zone, remember to set this correctly. I have set it to other videos too. Remember to set it according to your country, or otherwise you won't get a correct GPS position fix. Distance unit, you can select either of 3, which one you like. Altitude, oops, okay, and we have also speed unit. This was the GPS menu. I have it active as I said, and you can see the little red icon here at the top of the screen. Well, I haven't removed this. Let me remove this. Okay. So let's dive into this menu, beacon setup. Obviously, the beacon setup of our APRS system. You can set your call sign here, as I have done. And the SSID, you know, the number that goes after your call sign. Path, a very usual path, wide-1, wide2-1. You can alter it also if you want. User path, I haven't changed those. Not into source position. Obviously, you have to choose if you want fixed position from the settings that you will put in the radio, or the GPS position of the radio, the actual GPS position of the radio. The normal source is GPS, obviously. My positions here, you can set the fixed position that I told you before, longitude, latitude, and altitude. Station symbol, okay, that's for the symbols in the APRS. A normal one is people, yes, okay, or you can set it to car or vehicle, depending what you want. Custom icons, no need to change that one. Mickey type, you can choose whatever you like if you transmit Mickey packets. And message, this is a custom message that you can set for others to see, and it will be transmitted at the end of the packet. Okay, that's the end of the beacon setup menu. Here we have a repeater setting for the APRS. Usually I don't touch those, I don't have to. Advanced menu. Let's see, APRS channel. You have to select which one of the three VFOs you want to use for your APRS. I will set it to SE at the moment. TX delay, okay, for the transmission. APRS mute, if you don't want to hear the sound of the APRS packets going out and in. So APRS ringer is about hearing a beep sound when the APRS receives or transmits, and this is for the actual APRS packet sound. So you have again a lot of options to choose from. RX pop-up, this is because this radio obviously can receive APRS packets and decode them. You can have the pop-up set to on, and when a packet arrives, you receive a packet from someone else transmitting APRS data. It will display here a pop-up showing you various information. RX beacon clear. There's a list of the received APRS data and beacons, so you can clear this list from here. RX pop-up time, how many seconds the information screen will stay on the screen. TNC type, I'm sure that you guys that work with APRS, you're going to find this interesting. We have two options, either off or the keys protocol. I really can't go on explaining every protocol that's in here because this video is going to last 2 or 3 hours. Now, search it up if you want, but there is an option here to select it. TX data reporting, I guess this is about when we transmit APRS, if other data will go as well with the APRS packet, like speed, satellites and stuff like that. I'm not quite sure, but I think that this is it. It's not in the manual, by the way. And also the last menu is factory setting, from which you can obviously reset all the APRS system. Just the APRS, don't do it if you don't have to. And this was the advanced menu. Now we have to go on because it has a lot of options here, as I said before. Beacon type, okay. Timing beacon or manual beacon, you either send your APRS packets with the PTT button or you have set it to auto, so every some seconds it sends the APRS packet that you have defined. Beacon list, we haven't received any APRS packets from others, so that's why this list is empty. And let's go back. That was the last entry of the APRS settings, the beacon list. Okay, let's continue. Moving forward to the second set of icons of the menu system, user key. This menu is all about your shortcuts. All the keys that you can assign to do whichever function you want to in this radio. So we have the PF1 and 2, these two buttons down here, short press and long press. Let's see what you can select for each one. Radio, monitor, scan, search, SOS, okay, your alarm system. Spectrum analyzer, yes, because this radio has also a spectrum analyzer, obviously. Beacon TX, if you want to transmit the APRS beacon. PTT-C, this is to assign this button down here as the PTT for the third VFO, the C, from the 3 that we have. And we are back, okay. So those were the options for the PF1. Let's see the long press, if it has something different. Beacon TX, PTT, no, it's the same options. And let's see the PF2, again. Right, see here, we don't have the PTT-C option, so only this button can be assigned as the PTT-C. The down here cannot. Right. I guess we have the same for the long press. Correct. Lovely. And from here only we continue, because you can also set all the numeric keypad buttons to a long press function. 0 to 9, you have also a long press function in all those buttons. They are different than the other ones. Let's see what we have. Obviously, none, radio, the listening part of this machine for commercial radio and other frequencies. We have Vox on or off, I guess it will take you to the Vox menu. Search, spectrum analyzer again, NOAA channels, scan QT, that's for the scanning CTCSS and DCS, I guess. Squelch menu, frequency step, TX power to quickly select a power setting, channel memory, zone selective, you have the zone system on, standby set, that's what I told you before about dual or single reception in the radio, activating one transceiver or both of them, CTCSS or DCS to change them, frequency offset, direction, RX modulation if you want to change between FM or AM, tone TX, transfer, I guess this is about cloning to another radio, perhaps, GPS switch, which I have set the number 9 long press to do, APRS switch again, Roger beep, Bluetooth activate for programming the radio. Unfortunately, this is something that is missing from this radio. Besides the fact that it doesn't make coffee, it misses a Bluetooth speakerphone. So maybe BAJETON at the next model, the BJ-9000, can also add this function along with the coffee making. And also we have an option called temporary scan list. I have to check about this, what it does, but it looks interesting. You can also assign this to a long press of the numeric keypads down here. So this was the user key setting menu. Quite an extensive one for all those shortcuts that we have in the radio. Bluetooth, obviously not a lot here, on and off. We're going to see it later how it works. This is only for programming, as I said before, through your smartphone. Signaling. Also, I'm not going to go extensively through this menu. It's about PTT-IDs and DTMFs, which at the moment I have no use of, to say the truth, but I'm sure you guys that you want to use them, you will find your way around. But it has a dedicated menu here to do that. Setting. We have also other settings of the radio, hardware settings, operational settings here, a beep prompt for the keypad, voice, if you want to hear a voice while browsing through the menu, keypad lock, backlight, how long it will stay on, menu out time, yes, how long also the menu will stay on, power on display, if we want the picture or the voltage of the battery, language, yes, we have, yes, two options here, and this is for the setting menu. Reset. One option before the end, we have a reset menu, VFO mode and reset all. Okay, don't use that if you don't need it, obviously. And also the last item is about, where we see which firmware version the machine has, hardware version also, and other information like my call sign that I have set in the APRS system. So we have the latest firmware right now for this machine is 0.26. And you can see that I am in hardware version 1 and my call sign is this one, yes, of course. Alright, so we are done with the presentation of the menu system. Okay, we are at LSB, as you can see, and let's see what we can hear. I have this CB antenna, of course, but it's not optimized for this occasion, but still you can see that I receive.
Η επικόλληση σε κάθε μήνυμα του Viber αυτό το πράγμα, το πρόθεμα, δεν μπορώ να καταλάβω. Πώς κόλλησε το πρόθεμα αυτό και ό,τι έχετε από το Λοΐζο γράφει καλά Χριστούγεννα.
Okay, I can hear some local chatter, obviously. So, yep, this is okay. Okay, lower down.
我每次离家久了，最想念的不是什么山珍海味，而是母亲做的那碗清汤面。上面贴着酥巴，心底清澈，面条筋道，喝下去整个人都是幸福的。这种食物的性格，寒气中见真情，热气中无声。食物的性格说到底是人。
C'est assurer sa survie. Nourrir un enfant, c'est aussi un élément important. La vaccination, c'est une étape pour l'enfant. Si on veut avoir un enfant en bon état, un enfant capable de contribuer pour le développement de sa communauté, il faut commencer par le vaccin. Et je pense même qu'on le dit souvent, le premier vaccin de l'enfant, c'est le lait maternel que nous donnons.
Okay, another listening test. I have the earbuds on. I have removed the rubber ducky antenna that came with the radio, just out of curiosity mostly. I will put on the flex wave antenna. I don't know if you have seen the video that I made back in the day. It's like a signal stick. It's like this, totally bendable. You can search my channel for the flex wave antenna to see how I made it. So let's put it on.
Untitled 25 Victor Papa, release to contact Skopje 119.375 ready for lower. Bye bye, Untitled 25 Victor Papa, any other station calling? Untitled 4 Romeo Papa, remain the frequency, correct. Cargo 514, contact Ankara 128.925. Bye.
Yes, GN7 Lima Delta line, flight level 120. Level
50 γεια σας, Macedonia radar contact.
So as you can see, even with an antenna that it's not at all tuned for those frequencies, it receives just fine the airband. So let's continue. And as in every video, the power test. Let's see what BJ-9000 can do before going forward. Okay, let me open the power meter. Here we are. Right, so I am in VHF, low power. 143,500 frequency. Let's see, 0.9, almost 1 watt. Okay, very nice. And let's check the middle power in VHF again. 3.5, perfect. And high power VHF 8.4. All right, and let me switch to UHF. Okay, here we are, UHF low mode, 433,500. 1.18 watts. Okay, let's go to middle power. So this is UHF middle power, 4.7, 4.6, perfect. And let's see high power in UHF. Okay, 9 watts, 8.9 watts. Great. This is as far power test goes. I think it's pretty close to 10 watts as it says, and I have said to other videos that it's not that important, believe me. There are many other things that are more important to a radio, like get a better antenna or get an original antenna for that matter. So this was the power test. Let's see what else we have to talk about. Right, so I still have some things to show you. Let's see another feature of this radio, which is nice because it has a big screen and it shows beautifully. It's a spectrum analyzer. Let's see how it looks like. I have put it in a shortcut in my numeric keypad. You can also do this from the CPS or from the menu of the radio. As I said, you have all the number keys to put long press shortcuts in. So let me press 0. And as you can see, it went to the frequency that I already had in the VFO to scan around it. And it got, of course, what we're hearing, it's a lot of noise, and the Athens volmet, because the antenna that I have on is not the best for receiving this frequency. But you can see that moving around the arrows, we get the spike where it gets the signal and the frequency up here. Of course, you can change a lot of things, like the resolution of the spectrum analyzer. It goes up to 128 samples. Here is the spike again. The step you can change over here by pressing OK. It changes the step that the scanner reads the spectrum. And with the arrows up and down, you can move the green line, which is the threshold. As you see, now that they moved above the spike, I can't hear anything. So you get only the strong signals and not the terrible noise that is down here, for instance. Right, so this is the spectrum analyzer, a very nice feature. It's great to have it in a radio like this. Let's try another frequency just for the fun of it. I don't know if we can go low enough. Let me see. Oh, okay. It went down to 27 megahertz. That's interesting. Of course, we have no activity here because also the antenna is not appropriate for that band, obviously, but okay, it's interesting to see how low it goes. It goes even lower. I don't know if it works down here, to say the truth, but it works. Now that's great. I am listening with 771 antenna copy at 6-7 megahertz through the spectrum analyzer. Okay, that's quite interesting. Right, so okay, we're listening to some Greek music, not of my liking, to say the truth, but okay. So let's see what else we can do with this radio. We show the spectrum analyzer, see the hidden menus that are found in this radio. I'm not going to explain all of them at the moment. I'll just show you 2 or 3. There's no point for the 4th one, to say the truth. It's a lockdown mode, so we don't need to see it. Now, there is what is called super mode. To say the truth, I believe that it opens up some frequencies for transmission, some more frequencies maybe for transmission, but I'm not going to activate it, or I'm not going to leave it active, and I don't think you should too. I didn't find anything really changed when I changed to that mode. If someone has some information that we can actually verify, because there are a lot of things going on and a lot of videos on the internet that show this mode, but they don't explain what exactly it does, please leave a comment. I will try to contact the company to see what we can get out of them on this matter. I'm just going to show you how to activate this super mode if you want, or how you can return to the factory mode as it said. I believe that the radio that we received were in factory mode. I'm not sure, of course, if that's the case, but let's see how they work. Now, in order to activate this super mode, you have to keep pressed the number 8 on the keypad, the PTT, and power on the radio. You will see that it writes super mode and it reboots. That's the only thing that you're going to see at the moment. Of course, we have to check deeper in the settings and the capabilities of the radio to find out exactly what this super mode is, and to go back to what I believe is the normal mode of operation. I'm not quite sure which one of the two is the normal mode of operation, but I believe that this one is, not the super mode. You can keep pressed the OK, the PTT, and power on the radio, and you will see that it writes factory and it reboots. So I guess here we are. Now, there is another mode that's extremely interesting, but again I will have to advise some caution. I am sure that some of you will use it. It's okay, it's totally understandable. You know that in this radio, in order to change the work band, you have to go into the menu system and go here to radio set, as we have seen previously in the video, and select your work band from here, either 18 to 64 MHz or 64 to 999 MHz. So either we go into the CB band or to the wider band of the rest of the frequencies. Now, there is a way to activate the lower band here on the third VFO at the same time. That's the interesting thing. Of course, the radio might work a little differently. I guess it disables the one transceiver of the VU frequencies and activates the lower transceiver. I said previously also in the video that I hear a clicking sound when this happens, and maybe there is a relay inside the body of the radio that does the switch when we go to the CB, the lower band mode. So let's see how we activate this mode. But you have to know that BAJETON refers to this mode as an old band test mode. So it's a test mode. I understand that some of you might want to use it, but if you ruin your radio, please don't blame BAJETON or me. So again, with the radio closed, in order to activate the old band test mode, you hold the PTT, the down arrow here, and activate the radio, and you see that it says old band test mode, and at the same time now on the third VFO here we have the CB band. Isn't that nice? I mean, what else can someone ask? Now, you can move, of course, through the bands as usual. Let me see if we can catch the clicking sound on the mic of the video. So I'm going to go to the C VFO now. I don't know if you heard it. Yes, there's definitely a clicking sound. Okay, those were the hidden menus of the radio that we have so far discovered. Very interesting features. A super mode, the factory mode, and an old band test mode in which you can activate the lower frequencies on the third VFO at the same time with the other ones. Now, in order to go out of this old band test frequency mode, you do the same procedure. So you press and keep pressed the down arrow, PTT, and power on. And as you can see now, the third VFO has returned to what it should be originally. Okay, moving on, we'll check the CPS and the Bluetooth programming of this radio. Right, so let's have a look at the CPS and how this radio can be programmed. Before showing the CPS, however, I'm going to show you something else. There is an address here in GitHub where a good developer, a good man, has started making a CHIRP driver for the BJ-9000. Actually, it's for the other brand, which shall not be named, but as you know, it works exactly the same as the BAJETON BJ-9000, which I suspect is the original radio, but the other company took it and put its brand on it. So before continuing, I would suggest you to download this driver from here for CHIRP, and I'm going to show you how this works. I have downloaded the Python file, and as I have shown to many other videos, you go to CHIRP and select load module. It will display a warning. You load up the Python file, the driver for this radio, and now you're ready to upload and download the memories from this. Okay, here we go, COM12. You select this model over here, exactly as shown over here, and you can see that it reads it just beautifully. Great. Now, because this driver is not part of the official CHIRP release, I would suggest you for the moment to use it like this. You can open your frequencies. Let's say that you have made a frequency file with CHIRP that you have stored. I would also suggest you to do this, create a frequency file in CHIRP and just keep your frequencies there so you can copy and paste them. So you can just go to that frequency file and let's say delete the first one, which is empty. Okay, let's say we select all the frequencies and go to the tab that we will create the frequency list for the BJ-9000. And here we just select all again and click paste. We'll overwrite anything that's in the radio. Perfect. And by not touching anything else, at least at this moment, that's what I did. Because as I said, I didn't want to see if the driver is 100% okay, but I just wanted to quickly pass the channels to my radio. You go to upload to radio, and we're done. So we just passed 300 channels in the radio, at least my 300 channels here in the radio, very quickly, very easily. And I'm not going to check the settings, although you can use this. You can check the settings from here and you can set anything you want from here. I will check it further to see if it's usable. I believe it is, but for the moment I will show the CPS of the company. So now that we have the channels in the radio, because that's the difficult part in its programming, we're going to open the CPS of BAJETON. As always, you will find links for everything in the description of the video, and I'm going to select, okay, it's selected, the port where the radio is, and do a read. Perfect. So it downloaded everything from the radio. Now, usual stuff. Now here, the interface is familiar, I have to say. I have seen it many times in other brands. The menu here at the CPS, channel mode, it's this window, VFO mode. We have 3 VFOs. We can select default settings for each one of them, obviously. Optional features. Here are the most settings for your radio, like squelch level, battery save, everything else that you need to be configured here, and also all the buttons that you can put your own shortcuts in. As you can see, all the numerical buttons over here and the 2 side buttons PF1 and PF2. Everything is here. Moving on, let's see what else we have. DTMF, I'm not interested in that. FM AM SSB modulation. This is for the listening part of the radio. Okay, it's not for transmission. And you can store some memories here with their bandwidth, etc. Here we have the classic commercial FM. Here we have the AM range. You can see here the frequency range for each of those tabs, and the SSB, LSB or USB obviously, and other settings down here like the steps for each of those modes, the RX gain, if it's going to be automatic, or you can set your own dB, or if you want to work in VFO mode or channel mode. When it says channel mode, it means those 15 memories that are here. Let's see what else we have. APRS info, a dedicated APRS section. Excellent, excellent. Anything you need is over here to set up the APRS quickly. You can even set the fixed position of your GPS in case you need a fixed position. most cases you don't, but okay. APRS routing, very nice. You can put your call sign over here, custom messages at the end of the APRS packet. Excellent. Everything you need is right here in the CPS. Let's see what else we have. Program, okay, of course, read and write. Settings, yes, and tools, import, boot picture. Right. So let's test this for the logo, for the boot logo of the radio. Let's have a look at it for a moment, just for the fun of it. Okay. Here at the program, there's a small error. Down here it says 240 by 320 pixels. This is not correct. The correct size for this image is 240 by 346. So you have to create a boot image at 240 and 346 pixels, save it as a BMP, a bitmap image in Windows, very easy, and we can, okay, and if you click import image, you will see that the radio will go into programming mode, and it will root with your custom boot image, just for the fun of it, of course, nothing really important, but it's good to have. Okay, so this was the basic user interface of the CPS, nothing really special, nothing really very difficult, all known options of CPS programming as far as we know them. It's a good solid CPS that has all the functions that it should have. Now let me see if I can hook up the Bluetooth programming to see how this is done really quickly. Okay, I have installed the app in my phone. This is called Walkie Talkie Tool, this one here, provided by Bajeton. They have QR codes and stuff to find it online. This is the user interface, and you can go down here where it says frequency read and write. Let's see how it connects to the radio. I have already opened up the Bluetooth in the radio, the Bluetooth programming. Okay, it already found it very quickly. And it says it's connected. Select module. Okay. Has a lot of ones to select from here. Bajeton BJ-9000. Perfect. Okay, let's do a read. As you can see, the radio went into programming mode, and we already are downloading the data to the phone. Very nice. Just an observation, this method with the Bluetooth app, I can see that it has only the zone method of programming. I don't know if it somewhere is hidden the option, as I have it in my radio, to display all the channels and not separated by zones. But still, it's a method that you can use on the road if necessary. Here we can see all the channels that are inside the memory of the radio with their names and their frequencies. Here we have the three VFOs. You can change your settings from here, and the optional settings for the radio, like timeout timer, squelch, and stuff like that. So for a basic quick programming, you can do it from your smartphone and pass the data back to the radio if you're on the road and you have to change something quickly. I would prefer the CPS, to say the truth, but if necessary, I will use the app if it's an emergency and I have to change something, an error in a frequency and stuff like that, to add the repeater that it's not there, etc. So this was also the Bluetooth app, and I think we're done. I have said a lot of things about this radio. It's probably a very long video, but you can see why. This is a radio that does a lot of things. It has three VFOs, it has two transceivers inside at least, maybe even one more for the lower frequencies. Crossband repeater, you can hear and transmit at CB, you can hear all those bands over here, all those lower bands. You have GPS and APRS, a very nice user interface, and almost 10 watts of power. So at this price that Bajeton sells this radio, I truly believe that it's one of the radios that you should have. It's an excellent work from Bajeton. and I hope to see more radios like this. Thank you for watching. I hope you managed to watch the whole video, or at least in parts. If you liked this video and it helped you, press like, subscribe to the channel, and see you next time.